Hello everyone, this is Chetan Sharma, MSc Microbiology, second year, Central University of Tamil Nadu. Today we'll be discussing about our topic biofuel production from organic waste. So let's continue our topic. First we'll get an overview of biofuels. So what are biofuels? Biofuels are energy sources which can be obtained from the biomass like plant biomass, algae or animal biomass. They can be produced in all forms of matter which are solid, liquid and gaseous form. So biofuels can be produced in solid phase, liquid phase and gas phase also. What are the advantages of biofuels if we say this? So there are few advantages of biofuels that are they reduce the dependency on the fossil fuels, which is a very good option and it's a good alternative for the fossil fuels also. And now as it is reducing the dependency on fossil fuels, it also reduces the greenhouse gas emissions, which will lead to the global warming. So it also reduces the greenhouse gas emissions, and after that it helps to it helps in the waste management, and it is also a very good source of energy. So moving forward, we'll discuss about the types of biofuels. So biofuels are broadly classified into two types: primary biofuels and secondary biofuels. So primary biofuels are those biofuels which can be directly used for the cooking and heating, and they are mainly originated from the wood, plants and animals. Whereas second biofuels are biofuels which are obtained from the biomass processing. So by this biomass processing can be done by either by a thermochemical process or any biological process, and they can be produced in the all three physical states: solid, liquid and gas, which I told you earlier. So second biofuels are further classified into four types: first generation biofuels, second generation biofuels, third generation biofuel and fourth generation biofuels. So these for this further classification is based on the feedstock which we are using for the production of the biofuel. The type of feedstock we are using, it is come under different category of the biofuels under different generation. So first generation biofuels are the biofuels which are generated from the food crops. As you can see here, which so biofuels which are derived from the food crops like corn, sugarcane are the example of first generation biofuel. These biofuels comes under the first generation biofuels. So example of first generation biofuels are ethanol and biodiesel. First generation biofuels actually competes with the food supply, as we are using the food crops in the production of this generation biofuels. So this will directly compete with the food crops and the food supply. Coming to the second part, that is second generation biofuels. These are produced from the non-food biomass such as agriculture residues, forestry waste and municipal solid waste. And the example of the second generation biofuels are bioethanol, biodiesel and biogas. There are one more kind of biofuels which are known as advanced biofuels, which include third generation biofuels. So third generation biofuels, here you can see it is obtained from the aquatic crops like macroalgae and microalgae. So these the biofuels which are obtained from the macroalgae or microalgae are known comes under the third generation of biofuel. And there is one more, that is fourth generation of biofuel, which are also known as electro biofuels, and these include the genetic they uses the in the production they use genetically modified organic microorganisms GMOs for the production of biofuel of fourth generation. Coming to the next part, here we can see in the flow chart there are this we are seeing biofuel feedstock. Based on the biofuel feedstock, there are three different generation of biofuels: first generation, second generation and third generation. So here we can see this chart is showing the production of the ethanol and the biodiesel. So what we are seeing here, that if for the production of ethanol, first the feedstock or the biomass which we are which either it can be a food crop, it can be a non-food biomass, or it can be an algae or any kind of aquatic crops. So this will go under the enzymatic hydrolysis. Then further it will be gone through fermentation, and at the last it will go through distillation, which is a purification process, and at last we will obtain the ethanol blended gas. Whereas in the production of the biodiesel, all the feedstock from the all the collected feedstock oil will be extracted, then it will go in the trans-esterification process, which is a kind of reaction. Then it will be purified, and at the last we'll obtain the biodiesel. So this chart shows about the overview of the production of ethanol and biodiesel, which are kind of biofuels. Coming to the organic waste, so we discussed about the biofuel, what is a biofuel, what types of biofuel, Now we'll discuss about the organic waste, as we are using the organic waste in this production of the biofuel. What is an organic waste? So organic waste are any kind of biodegradable material which will originate which is originating from the living organisms such as plants and animals. So this can be of multiple types. It can include food waste, yard waste, animal waste, and biodegradable material, any kind of biodegradable materials like untreated wood or some textile industry which have their uh, waste of the textile industries, we can say those are biodegradable because over the time, with the time, they will be decomposed with time. So food waste, yard waste, animal waste, and any kind of biodegradable materials are types of organic waste, or they are we can say they are different kinds of organic waste. So if we go into the composition of the organic waste, there are different kind of organic waste have different types of composition. They have different types of key components which are present in the that particular waste. So if we discuss about the food waste as we discussed that it includes the fruit or vegetable peels or any meat scraps or any dairy products. It actually contains carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and little bit of moisture also. So food waste contains it have key components of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and moisture. Whereas in agriculture waste, which includes crop residues, any animal manure, and wood chips, this includes cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin, and nutrients. Coming to the next, that is municipal solid waste. So municipal solid waste, as with the name as we know, that it's kind of a mixture of all kind of multiple kind of food waste, organic waste, sorry, organic waste such as paper, cardboard, yard waste, as we told, and food waste. So it contains all kind of waste. So it contains mainly cellulose, lignin, plastics, metals, and glass. These are the key components which are found in the municipal solid waste. Coming to the next, that is industrial waste. It includes paper mill sludge or any food processing byproducts. So what are the key components of the industrial waste? These are cellulose, lignin, sugars, and organic acid. These all compounds will be found in the industrial waste. So moving further, we will discuss now types of biofuels from the organic waste. So before we discuss types of biofuels, which are based on the feedstock which we are using for the production of biofuel, different kind of biofuels. Now we'll discuss about different types of biofuels which are we obtaining from the organic waste. So here there are four kinds of mainly biofuels which we obtain from the organic waste, that is biogas, bioethanol, biodiesel, and solid biofuels. So we'll discuss about them. That is first biogas. Biogas is obtained by the anaerobic digestion of the organic waste, and it is mainly composed of methane, carbon dioxide, and it can be used for in the electricity generation, heating, or as any vehicle fuel also. The next is bioethanol, which is produced by the fermentation of sugars, which we are obtaining from the processing of the lignocellulosic biomass. So here we are using feedstock which we are using. It contains the lignocellulosic component, which will be later converted into the free sugars or sugars, and then that sugar will be fermented to produce the bioethanol. So there is an example with BioRen process, or we can say this is a project, BioRen project or BioRen process. It's a two-stage enzymatic process which will convert the organic waste into bioethanol and isobutanol. And coming to our next part, that is biodiesel. So biodiesel is nothing, is it is found by the reaction of fatty acids or oils, we can say. It is produced by the reaction of the fatty acid with the alcohol, which is known as transesterification. So this process is known as transesterification. And biodiesel can be further used in diesel engines in their pure form. Coming to our last part, that part of types of biofuel, which is solid biofuel. They also known, we can say, as example, biocoal. So if we discuss about biofuels, first thing which comes into the mind, that is biocoal, which is produced by the hydrothermal carbonization of the organic waste. So these biofuels, solid biofuels, which are we can say biocoal, can be used in the heating applications, which are a good source of or for generating the heat. Coming to our next process, that next topic, that is unlocking production processes. So different kind of processes are there for the production of biofuels. These all different kind of procedures are based on the different kind of feedstocks. So according to the feedstock, there are different kind of processes for the production of biofuels. like anaerobic digestion, which is done in the absence of the oxygen. It is the microbial breakdown. With the help of microorganism, organic waste will be breakdown in the absence of the oxygen. So as a result of anaerobic digestion, we'll get two products. That is one is biogas and one is digestate. So digestate is what? It is a nutrient rich residue. Okay, so next coming to the next process, it is fermentation. So fermentation is the conversion of sugars into the ethanol with the help of yeast or bacteria. So sugar will be converted into the ethanol with the help of yeast or bacteria. This process is called fermentation. So fermentation includes three basic steps, which are pre-treatment, which will be further followed by fermentation, and later at the last we'll have to purify the obtained product, which is done by the distillation. As I before told you, biofuel project is an example of fermentation process, which is a two-stage enzymatic process for the bioethanol production. The next process comes is trans-esterification. So as I told you before, that trans-esterification is nothing but a reaction of fatty acid with the alcohol. So here we can see reaction of triglycerides, that we can say fats and oil, fatty acids with the alcohol to produce the biodiesel. So when the triglyceride or fatty acid will be treated with the alcohol, then it leads to the production of the biodiesel. Here, alkalines or acid are used as catalysts to increase the reaction rate and the yield of the biodiesel. Even and glycerol will be produced as a byproduct of this reaction. So, glycerol is the byproduct of the trans-esterification process or reaction. Coming to the next part, the next process is hydrothermal carbonization. So hydrothermal carbonization, with the name we can hydro, that is water, thermal is heat. So the biomass will be treated with water at high temperature and pressure to produce the biochar and bio-oil. So biochar and bio-oil will be produced by hydrothermal carbonization. So in this, biomass will be treated with water in at high temperatures and pressures. So this hydrothermal carbonization is very suitable for the wet feedstocks, as this uses the water. So it is already, if we using the wet feedstocks, so already the moisture or water content is there. So it is very good for the wet feedstocks processing, or if we are producing the biofuel from any kind of wet feedstocks. The next process is pyrolysis, which is nothing but a thermal decomposition of organic material. So organic waste will be treated at high temperature in the absence of oxygen. So remember that in the pyrolysis process, organic matter will be treated, organic waste will be treated at high temperature in the absence of oxygen, which will lead to the production of bio-oil, syngas, and char. So these all are can be used as a source of energy and further can be processed into any kind of fuels. So here in this chart, we can see that second generation biofuels, depending the biomass reduction, these can be processed by different processes. So there are basically they divided into two types of conversion process, that is thermochemical conversion and biochemical conversion. Here we can see thermochemical conversion includes gasification, liquefaction, pyrolysis, which will lead to the synthesis of syngas, bioil, or biochar respectively. Whereas in biochemical conversion, here we can see it includes anaerobic digestion, alcoholic fermentation, photobiological hydrogen production, which leads to the production of biogas, bioethanol, and biohydrogen respectively. One more production process is here, that is trans-esterification, which leads to the production of biodiesel. So this all is here giving the overview, or we can say broad classification of the conversion process of the biofuels. So before talking further about the process, pro like before talking about the process later, first we'll discuss about the pre-treatment and hydrolysis terms. These are two terms which will be further used in the processes. So pre-treatment and hydrolysis. What is a pre-treatment and hydrolysis of organic waste? So pre-treatment is nothing but it is a breaking down of complex structure present in an organic waste into the simpler and small molecules or simpler structure, so that it will be easily accessible by for the enzymes and microorganisms. So this step involves physically and chemically breaking down of the complex structure of the organic waste to improve the accessibility for our enzymes and microorganisms. So this pre-treatment can be done by three processes, that is grinding, shredding, or chemical treatments. Whereas hydrolysis, it is also kind of breakdown only, but it is the breakdown of complex carbohydrates like cellulose or hemicellulose into the simpler sugars, and with the help of enzymes. So what it leads to, so hydrolysis which lead to the release of the free sugar. So this process releases the sugars which can be easily processed for the fermentation process, and which will lead to the production of biofuels. So here we can say pre-treatment hydrolysis is nothing but a breaking down of the organic waste or complex structure present in the organic waste. So biochemical conversion of the organic waste, as I told you before that in the chart, that two types of conversion are there: biochemical conversion and thermochemical conversion. First, we'll discuss about the biochemical conversion of organic waste. So biochemical conversion of organic waste means it is using the biological agents and enzymes and chemicals to break down the to convert the organic waste into the biofuels. So it utilizes the biological agents like enzymes and microorganisms to transfer organic waste into the biofuels. So this process involves breakdown of complex organic molecules into simpler compounds, which later will be converted into the biofuels. So few processes are there like hydrolysis, which we discussed about, that complex carbohydrates, proteins or lipids or any kind of complex molecules will be broken down into simpler sugars, amino acid or fatty acid, which will later for process for the fermentation process, which in which microorganism convert the sugars into the ethanol, and which will lead to the production of butanol, biodiesel, and other type of biofuels. The another process is trans-esterification, which I told you it's a reaction of fatty acid with the alcohol, and it is a chemical reaction. And alcohol we are using as a methanol and ethanol. So the fatty acids are treated with the methanol, ethanol to produce the biodiesel. Coming to our next conversion technique, it is thermochemical conversion of organic waste. So what is thermochemical conversion? It uses the heat and chemical reactions for converting the organic waste into the biofuels. So it utilizes the heat and chemical reactions to transform organic waste into the biofuels, and it has a high conversion rate. So that's why it is very good for producing the wider range of the biofuels. There are two processes which are mentioned, that is gasification and pyrolysis. What is gasification? Actually, gasification and pyrolysis are kind of similar, but there is a one difference. That what is that? So gasification is a treatment of organic waste in the presence of oxygen at high temperatures. So it includes the treatment of organic waste at high temperatures, but in the presence of the oxygen or in the presence of the air. So the product of the gasification is syngas, which is also known as synthetic gas or synthesis gas. So syngas can be further processed into various fuels like methane, methanol, or ethanol. Whereas in pyrolysis, it is also a treatment of organic waste at high temperatures, but in the absence of oxygen. So in the gasification, it is in the presence of oxygen or air, whereas pyrolysis, it is done in the absence of the oxygen. And pyrolysis will lead to the production of bio-oil, biochar, and non-condensable gases. So this bio-oil and non-condensable gases can be further used as a fuel, whereas biochar, it is a carbon rich material which can be used as a soil amendment. So biochar can be used as soil amendment to increase the fertility of agricultural field. Coming to our next topic, we'll discuss about the processes of the different kinds of processes of the biofuel production. First process is anaerobic digestion process. So as we discussed earlier, that is the production it is a microbial breakdown of the organic waste in the absence of the oxygen, and it leads to the production of biogas and digested. So here we can see we collected the whole feedstock from like manure, wastewater, or biosolids, food waste, organic. These are different kinds of organic waste which will be put in a digester tank. Here anaerobic digestion reaction will be happen with the help of microbes, and later we will get the two products, which is biogas and digested. So biogas will be can be used in the production of electricity, heat, vehicle fuel, and as a natural gas, and whereas digested is used as a production of any kind of horticulture products and organic fertilizer, which is also a good alternative for the synthetic fertilizers. So there are few steps of the anaerobic digestion. It includes three basic steps, that is hydrolysis, breakdown of the complex molecules into simpler sugars, amino acid, and fatty acids. So complex organic molecule will be broken down into the simpler molecules. The next step is acidogenesis. So acidogenesis is nothing but the simpler sugars or simpler molecules like sugars, amino acid, and fatty acid will be further converted into the volatile fatty acids, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen. In the next step, these all VFAs, like which are volatile fatty acid, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen will be converted into the methane, which is a primary component of the biogas. So this process will be uh, taken a taken a sorry. So this process will be done with the help of methogenic bacteria, which will convert the volatile fatty acids, CO2, and hydrogen into the methane. So next, in here we are seeing, see where we can get an overview as this before also we discussed, where we were getting the organic waste in the digester tank. Here microbial decomposition will be occurring, and will be get two types of two products, which is digested and biogas. Here biogas will be further processed for the another kind of biofuels like biomethane, which can be used as gas and biofuel and in vehicle fuels, whereas biogas also can be used in electricity generation and heating properties, whereas digestate can be used as a fertilizer or manure in the agriculture field. Here we are saying this, it is the explanation of this whole pictorial representation. The microorganism will break down the organic waste in the absence of oxygen, leading to the production of biogas and digestate. So what is digestate actually? Digestate is a nutrient-rich residue. It is a leftover after the production process, which is rich in the many kinds of nutrients, various nutrients. So that's why it can be used as fertilizers. So biogas, as we use, it can be used for heating, electricity generation, and transportation fuels. It is a very good alternative for the fossil fuels. Whereas at digested, it is used as natural fertilizer, and it also reduces the our dependency on the synthetic fertilizers, which are harmful for the agriculture and environment. So coming to our next process, that is fermentation. So fermentation is nothing but the conversion of the sugars into the biodiesel. So how it will be? By the fermentation of the sugar. So it includes three basic steps: pre-treatment, fermentation, and distillation. So in the first step, pre-treatment, which is the breakdown of the complex structure and release of the sugars, so that it can easily be fermented in the further process. So this can be done by grinding, hydrolysis, or any kind of chemical treatment or mechanical grinding also. Whereas fermentation for the now after pre-treatment, the organic waste or the released sugars will be further processed for the fermentation. So in this process, sugars are fermented into the ethanol using the yeast or bacteria. With the help of yeast and bacteria, ethanol will be produced by the fermentation of the sugars. So these microorganisms, what they do, they convert the sugars into ethanol and CO2 with the help of alcoholic fermentation process. And later, after this, when we obtain the ethanol, here the ethanol will be purified so that we can obtain the purest form of the ethanol, which will be done by the distillation process. So this ethanol is a very for the production of high quality ethanol. This distillation process is very important, and later it can be used as biofuel and can be blended with the gasoline for further use. Coming to our next part, pre-treatment. As we discussed before in the fermentation part, wow, pre-treatment. So what is pre-treatment? We discussed is the breaking down of complex molecules into the simpler sugars, fatty acid, or amino acid. So how it can be done? Either it can be done by physical treatment, chemical treatment, or biological treatment. So physical treatment includes grinding, chopping, or shredding, which will lead to the increase in the surface area of the organic waste. So that's why what they will do, microbes can easily act on that organic waste, and it will enhance the digestibility of the organic waste. So it can also be done by heating or freezing, which will lead to the disruption of the cell walls of any kind of biomass which is present. So cell, because in the biomass definitely their cells will be present. So if there any kind of cells is present, so plant cell walls will be disrupted with the help of heating or freezing. Whereas in chemical treatment, it is done by the help of chemicals like acids, bases, and any kind of oxidizing agents, which will break down the complex polymers into the simpler forms. And the biological treatment, it uses the enzymes for the production, for the breakdown of the complex molecules, but it is done for the specific kind of components like cellulose and hemicellulose. So as it is done for the specific kind of components like cellulose, hemicellulose, it is a bit expensive compared to other two processes. So it is a bit expensive because of the it uses enzymes, and it needs a specific condition for the breakdown. So here we can see the overview of fermentation process. So for the fermentation, the maximum biomass which we are using, it contains hemicellulose, lignin, and cellulose, which will be processed first for the pre-treatment, which will break down all these like cellulose will be break down further, lignin also will break down, hemicellulose also will be break down. As we discussed cellulose and hemicellulose, we can use the biological pre-treatment, and lignin also we can use any kind of different kind of pre-treatment techniques. So this will be process, or this first will go through the biomass pre-treatment process, where it will be depolymerized, like the polymers will be broken down into the monomers or in the simpler forms with the help of enzymatic reactions. So it is also known as enzymatic hydrolysis of the organic waste. Later it will be what happens after the depolymerization. Free sugars will be released, and these free sugars will lead to further process for the fermentation, and by the fermentation will obtain the ethanol. So this is our overview of the fermentation process. Coming to our next topic, that next production process, that is pyrolysis. So pyrolysis we discussed is the thermal conversion of the biofuel in the absence of the oxygen. So organic waste is treated, or in organic waste will be treated in the absence of oxygen at high temperatures, and it leads to the production of bio oil, syngas, and biochar. So what is a bioil? It is a kind of liquid fuel which can be used for production of the various fuels and into more refined fuels, and it is a very good alternative for the fossil fuels, and which also helps in the reduction of the greenhouse gas emission. Whereas syngas, it is a mixture of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide. So it is a mixture of CO, hydrogen, and CO2. So syngas is a mixture of three types of gases, that is CO, that is carbon monoxide, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and which can be used for the production of various kind of fuels and also chemicals. Whereas biochar, it is a carbon rich material which can be used as a soil fertilizer and for the agriculture fields, which improves the water retention and improves the fertility of the soil. It also plays in the role in the carbon sequestration, helping mitigate climate change. So gasification. Further, if we move, so pyrolysis we discussed. Before I told you that pyrolysis and gasification are kind of similar processes. There is a one difference, that gasification will be done in the presence of the oxygen or air. So here we can see that organic materials are converted into syngas. That is the combination of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide at high temperatures with the in the presence of limited oxygen. So this process breaks down the complex structure into the valuable gas mixtures. So syngas, which can be later produced for the into liquid fuels like biodiesel, methanol, ethanol. So syngas is kind of, we can say it is a kind of crude oil which later will be further processed for the production of different kind of liquid fuels like biodiesel, methanol, and ethanol. Syngas also be used for the electricity generation, and it is a very good process for a clean and efficient way to produce the biofuel with the help of feedstock and kind biomass, coal, or waste. So it's a very clean and efficient way to produce a biofuel, and it can contribute to more sustainable energy systems also. So coming to our next process, that is hydrothermal liquefaction, which is a process specifically for the wet biomass conversion. So hydrothermal liquefaction is a process in which the biomass will be treated with water at high temperature and pressure. So what it will do, it will break down the complex structure of biomass, converting to the biocrude oil. So biocrude oil later can be used in biodiesel, as a biodiesel, jet fuel, and diesel in the refined form. It is a very efficient way to utilize wet biomass. This hydrothermal liquefaction is very useful for the treatment of the wet biomass, as uh, it is a potential of creating wide range of biofuel and with the back to biomass. So it is a very good way. And because as one more thing that it minimizes the need of drying and enhancing the energy efficiency. Like we don't need to dry the organic waste, because in other some few processes we need to dry the organic waste, but in this hydrothermal liquefaction we don't need to dry the organic waste. We can use it as it exactly however it is, like with the moisture also, which will reduce the energy and labor work, energy consumption and labor work. So hydrothermal liquefaction is a very good technology for future, as it has a potential of generating wide range of fuels from the different kind of uh, uh, feedstocks, and which without need of drying them. So it is very good for technology for the future production of the biofuels. So after discussing all this, we'll come to a topic that is benefits of biofuel production from organic waste. So why we are producing the biofuel from the organic waste only? So like why not anything else? Okay, we can use anything else, but there are few advantages of using a organic waste as a feedstock for the biofuel production, which is waste management. So so there are, we can see the landfills. There are everywhere. There will be landfills which can be reduced. So waste will be managed with the production of biofuel. If we are using the organic waste as a feedstock, so waste will be managed very easily. Then as a we have a by this process we have a multiple source of energy, so we don't need to rely on the only the fossil fuel for the energy production. Then environmental impact, as it is lowering the dependency on the fossil fuels, which are also responsible for the greenhouse gas emissions. So it will if we are using the biofuel, so it will lead to the decrease in the greenhouse gas emission compared to the traditional fossil fuel, which actually releases very high amount of greenhouse gases, which lead to the global warming. So, and next, the last one more benefit of the biofuel production is that it creates a job also, and it helps in the rural development. So as we see benefits and all kind of things, so if there is a benefit, there will be a challenge, there will be a drawbacks also. So what are the different kind of drawbacks? So there we have mentioned that challenges and barriers in the biofuel production. So different kind of barriers are like high production cost, as it is a process of a long process, like collecting the feedstock, then pre-treatment of the feedstock, then it will go to the conversion technique, then the purification, and later the upgrading of the equipment. So this all will lead to the high production cost. So at last, if we are getting a biofuel, that will be very expensive. So this is a drawback in the biofuels production, that it is a very high production. It sorry so it leads to a high production cost, which because of the cost of feedstock preparation, their pre-treatment, their conversion technique, and their upgrading of the equipment. So which is still more than the fossil fuels. So still, if we compare the production cost of fossil fuels or biofuels, so fossil fuels will win in that competition. So that's why there is a barrier, or there is a challenge which we have to figure out in the future. Coming to the next challenge, that is low conversion efficiency, that all the organic waste, or and that all the time the conversion process of the organic waste will not be that efficient, and it can lead to the lower yields, and which will lead to the increased cost. So there is a low conversion efficiency. And the next challenge is the land use competition. So as we saw that we are using the food crops also for the generation of first generation biofuels. So it use the energy crop directly, the food crops for the generation of biofuels, which is a direct competition for with the food supply, as we discussed earlier. So this is a challenge in the production of the biofuel, especially the first generation biofuel. And there are few lack of standard regulation. There are no standardized regulations for the production, so we need to work on them. So these few are the challenges, and there are further more things which are mentioned, that like technical limitations, feedstock variability, different kind of feedstock, different kind of conversion process, different kind of pre-treatment, then different kind of purification process. So it depends on the different type of feedstock which we are processing. So because of that, this is also a challenge, kind of challenge. Then food versus fuel debate, as we discussed that use of agricultural land for the fuel production, as we are using the for the fuel production, agricultural land will be used, which will lead to the higher food prices and food scarcity problems. And also have environmental concerns because it is uses the land which can be caused by like it uses a directly agricultural land which can affect the environment also, nearby environment also. So let's discuss about the what is the future. Coming to the just my conclusion and discussing about the future of the biofuels. So biofuels are very good alternative for the fossil fuels, but still some work has to be done for decreasing their cost, finding out the new types of feedstock, so that we should not rely on only one kind of feedstock. And we also need to find new feedstock which will can reduce the cost of the production process of the biofuels. Then advanced technologies such as algal biofuel production, enzymatic hydrolysis, and advanced biofuel upgrade biofuel leads immense potential for the changing this industry, because these fuels which are also known as advanced biofuels, these have immense potential because they have higher energy potential, they have a higher energy efficiency compared to other kind of biofuels. So the advanced biofuels are very important, and we has to be keep working on that. So that's my these are my references. Thank you. I hope you understood the present about the biofuel production from the organic waste. Thank you for listening. This is Chetan Sharma. Thank you.